And good morning, everybody. Nice to have you with us on this Thursday here on High Heat. Kit Kat presents, and we and Alana now will give you a 60-minute baseball program on this April 4th day. The weather in the Northeast has been unbelievably bad. Somehow the Mets may just sit there in the stadium on Tuesday night, which I did not understand. Rained out, no chance they could play yesterday. They'll try a doubleheader here in about an hour. It is cold out, but it's dry, so we have that going on. And some day games today. We'll get to that in the course of our morning session with you here as he has some fun. All right, let's do a brush back. Chris Panetti, of course, and all the fellas in charge of the production show. And let's start with the A's. This just came down about 10 minutes ago. No surprise. The commissioner told us last Thursday that he expected a decision soon. And the A's just announced that they will spend the interim before we get Vegas. And we all know that. We think there's a little shaky scenario there, although the commissioner was 100% sure that Vegas would happen. But the A's will play in Sacramento in the interim here these next 3 seasons. So after this year, they will leave Oakland and they will play in Sacramento. They're going to play in the River Cats ballpark. It holds about 14,000 people if you consider the Burns in the outfield, 10,000 seats. It's owned by the Sacramento Kings. The King owner and John Fisher, the A's owner, I guess they're friends. And, of course, this negates a last-second opportunity for the city of Oakland to work out a deal where they could at least, the A's, play in the Alameda Coliseum for the next 3 years. The A's and the city of Oakland had that conversation a couple days ago. I don't know how serious the A's were involved in that. They go to Sacramento, 90 miles east of Oakland, and they will play the next 3 years. Sacramento's going to probably try to prove to Major League Baseball that they can be a big league city, that they can be a baseball town. Obviously, they have the Kings, but nothing else. They are the capital of that of the state of California, as we know. And down the road, they might want trying to get an expansion team, and they also might want to be in the mix if, in fact, something happens in Vegas long term that's negative with the A's. Now, they did tear down the Tropicana Casino there a couple days ago, and that is where the new ballpark is going to be. And Rob, the commissioner, Mr. Manfred, did tell us last Thursday that he is 100% convinced that Vegas is going to happen for the A's. So we will go with that. Rob knows, and Rob did tell us that this A's situation will be resolved shortly so they can get the schedule out in 2025, and obviously it's a week later. The Major League Baseball union's got to approve this. I would think they would. There's no other great solution, and I will say this. Listen, bottom line is to stay in Oakland for the next 3 years as a lame duck, that was not the right approach. I don't care what the deal was. There's the A's fans and the A ownership, that bridge has been burned. They have drawn 2,000 or 3,000. And listen, I don't blame the A's fans for not supporting the team on this first homestand, but nobody has shown up. It's been a disaster. They will draw better in Sacramento because they get into it with the A's. It's not too far away. We'll see about the TV contracts with Bay Area, San Francisco. They incorporate, they get $67 million a year. We'll see how that works itself out. But I don't blame the A's for leaving because it's not an attainable situation. It's bad. There's bad blood all the way around. The fan base can't stand the A ownership. It's time to get out. I mean, if you're going to leave in 3 years, leave now. If you can, they can. They go to Sacramento. The ballpark was built in 2000. They're going to split it, the home dates, with the Giants affiliation, the River Cats, who play there too. I'm sure they can figure that out. It's the right thing. If you're going to leave Oakland, leave. Don't stay there for 3 years. It makes no sense whatsoever. And maybe down the road, Sacramento will be in line if something happens in Vegas, which it sounds like it's full systems go. We'll have to wait and see. So that's an item of information we had to get on the board for you, and it just came down a couple minutes ago. And I understand the decision by the A's franchise. I think it's probably good for baseball. Oakland's a bad look all the way around. That's number one. And I'm not blaming anybody. It's just it didn't work out. You want to blame the ownership? Go ahead. You want to blame the city of Oakland? Go ahead. Whatever the case, it was time to leave. That's the bottom line. bottom line. All right, that's number one. Let's go down the coast. Let's do a little baseball here, and let's do a little Dodgers and Giants. The Dodgers, obviously, 7-2 right out of the gate. They had the one huge win, that two-run homer by Muncy in the bottom of the 8th inning Sunday against St. Louis to win that series 3-1. They split the 2 games in Seoul, which were hard games to play, tricky travel, and obviously back to the West Coast to play exhibition games. They beat the Giants 3 straight. They have owned the Giants the last couple years. They beat them 3 in a row. Close games necessarily, but they beat Ryan Harrison last night. They withstood a late rally by San Francisco. They did a good job against Logan Webb earlier on in this series. And the Dodgers at 7-2. Listen, we know they're going to have a big year. They've scored 5 runs, I think, in every game they've played, which is the first time they've ever done that. Home run, of course, yesterday by Ohtani, his first of the year. Betts has hit home runs basically in every game. I think he's got 5. He's been tremendous too. So Freeman's only got the 1 home run. Henry cover. They got again. I don't love Teoscar Hernandez has done well, but I don't love the bottom of that lineup. I didn't like what I saw last year in postseason play. I don't love it. There's too many interchangeable parts, whether it's Hayward and Chris Taylor, and they platoon, they look for matchups and everything else. It's almost like they play 2 different teams outside of the big 4, in the course of a game. And I think that come back to bite them in the rear end, because if you're playing so many different lineups in the course of these games, that tells you don't have big-time starters. Outman and Hayward and Taylor. I don't love the players from that perspective. I think Betts at shortstop down the road's a little dicey. They are protecting Yamamoto to make sure they give him as much chances to be successful as they possibly can. They did not pitch him in the opener in Seoul. They did not pitch him in the opener at Dodger Stadium. They pitched him Saturday to give him an extra day off before they go play the Cubs on Wrigley Field. So the Dodgers are going to protect. The Dodgers are going to get themselves. They know they're going to be in the playoffs. They got to win in October. They're going to do everything they can to do that. Buehler has pitched in the minor leagues. Not great, but he's pitched. So maybe they feel they're not too far away to have him back a couple of months. And maybe at the most, we'll have to wait and see. Glasnow's done his thing. They're doing bullpen scenarios, which I don't love. They need some extra starting pitching. We shall see. But the Dodgers are basically a work in progress. The top 3 in the order is going to carry them. They're going to win the division by 1,000,000 games. They got a very big bullpen, and they're going to try to sort everything out by, say, middle of September, and then make a run in a championship. So we'll keep an eye on that. Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman are too good. Now, the Yankee front 3 is great, too, but those 3 are superb, and the Dodgers are who they are. The Giants, obviously, listen, they don't have a big-time guy in that lineup who's going to scare the daylights out of you. Farhan Zahidi's been here a long time. He's not been great. I know we love Melvin, but still the Giants have not been a very successful team. They had the one good year, and in that year they got unlucky with 107 wins, having to play the Dodgers in the divisional series. They won playing 4, which is not right because the Dodgers won 106. That's where the seeding's got to be redone. But in fact, the Dodgers beat him in a 5th game, and away we go. San Francisco is who they are. Arizona, they had a rough series against the Yankees. They could have won yesterday to win that series 2-1. Arizona's a pretty good team. San Diego did not play that well against St. Louis. Remains to be seen about them. Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks will probably be in the mix for spots 5 and 6. Not probably, will be in the mix for spots 5 and 6 in the NL wild card hunt. Phillies will probably be 4, and the Dodgers will win. Braves will win the divisions, I would think, going away. Dodgers are going to be very good, and plus they're going to draw crazy. I mean, they might hit 4 million fans. They're going to put 50,000 in that ballpark on most days. Ohtani's a special sight. Yamamoto's going to help a little bit. And they are going to draw like nuts. They're going to they might draw 4 million. It's never been done. I don't think it has. I don't think Toronto did it back in the heyday in the Rogers Center. I mean, they're going to draw 4 million people. The Dodgers are going to be the storyline all year long. They make 5 road trips on the East Coast. They make a Cub twin road trip this week. They play in Wrigley Field tomorrow, so we keep an eye on them. All right, that's number 1. Blue Jays, I'd be worried about them. They're lucky they won 1 game in Houston. Davis Schneider hit the home run against Josh Hader a couple nights ago. I'd be very worried about Hader. He has not pitched well. I would be concerned by him. If I was a Astro fan, they gave him $95 million. They gave him a ton of money. I know Presley's a free agent, but still, and the Blue Jays, of course, losing 2 out of 3, and they go play the Yankees now at Yankee Stadium before they play their home opener Monday against Seattle. Blue Jays don't hit. They get no hit, then they score, then they get 1 hit. It's very strange offensive team. So that's where we stand on a busy morning. It's good to have you with us. The A's move in the interim to Sacramento, which will start next year, is your big talking point. Here's Alana, did her able job, superb, of course, on a Wednesday, and she says hello, Miss Rizzo, how are you today?
I'm good. Good to have you back as always, Chris. I'm taking away this from this Wednesday program or yesterday's program. What is going on with the Marlins? You're talking a lot about the Dodgers, obviously, but the Marlins, my God, have not won a game all season long. And this is a team that made the postseason last year. They're the first team ever to lose their first 7 games of a year after making the postseason last year. And this is why I wonder, why do you allow Kim Ng to walk out the door? You know, she wasn't necessarily fired, but she was feeling like she was being demoted after bringing in somebody above her. That was unnecessary. This is a team that's allowed 51 runs in their 7 games. That's 7.3 runs per game. Reigning batting champ Luis Arraez, he's batting 185 right now, Chris. Shortstop Tim Anderson batting 231. He scored just 1 run in 7 games. This is a team that is obviously, you know, barreling their way to become sellers. If you look at, and on the other side, let's think positively about what Ron Washington has done with the Angels. He had a team meeting after day 1, and basically they rolled off some wins after that. So the Marlins are absolutely terrible, and the Angels seem to have things going at least in the right direction. So far, that's kind of been my takeaway of what's happened for the first week of the season.
Yeah, very poor by Miami. Their pitching is a mess. They don't have a great hitting team anyway. You're right. The Ng thing was very strange. Now, she left without having another job, which is odd because she's not working for a major league team, I don't think, at the moment. But you're right. She did a heck of a job there, and she should not have had what happened to her. I'm with you 1,000%. Lots to still do.
But when you found out that you were getting the call to the show, what was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was in shock for at least the next 2 days because we had that off day in Cincinnati, and then I traveled that day. And then when I got there, I didn't really all kick in, so I got to the field, saw the family, and then when they said play ball. So, yeah, I was still in shock up until then.
Now you're thinking, okay, I might get a room on the road by myself, but it was a whole other level when you get to do it at the big league level. How important was that moment for you, just knowing that all of the hard work had finally paid off?
Yeah, no, it's cool, but yeah, like you said, I thought I was gonna get my own hotel room, and I was pretty excited because there were some vets in the locker room, and they were like, "Oh, he's got to give it up," but really, I was going to the show, so I was excited. But yeah, all the hard work and the dedication, and what I was really excited for is just my family to be there and get the opportunity to see me.
Yeah, and how many people were there? I would imagine that it was a scramble to get everybody to Cincinnati, and also, of course, probably had a lot of ticket requests. What was that process like?
Yeah, it was kind of just like a drop everything and go for my family and friends. But yeah, I had around, I want to say like 20, 25 people that were there between like my family, my mom, my dad, and then my high school coach, and a lot of people were there.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. You make the debut on Saturday. You get a single there against Hunter Green in your first career at bat, and then you steal second base. And you said, Trey, that you felt really comfortable in the box. You kind of went through those breathing exercises. Tell me more about that. Is that something you do every time you step in the box? Tell me more about that process.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it really all started when I was at Tennessee, I would get into the box and then everything would just be rushed. So then when my junior year, I got into the box and I was like, all right, it's my show. So I would get in there, do my thing, and it would just, ever since then, it's just been like a kind of in slow motion for me. So I think that's why I feel so comfortable in the box.
How did it start when you were a volunteer? Did somebody say, hey, let's try to slow this game down for you? How did the breathing exercises come to fruition?
Well, I think during that COVID year, my sophomore year, we would have team yoga. And I think that really helped me out and a bunch of my teammates. Coach Vitello organized it, and we would go in the batting cages and just work on, I mean, not being able to get more mobility, but also working on the breathing exercise. And I think it helped me not like on the field too.
All right, so you weren't picked out of high school, you weren't picked out after your junior year, but you had a big senior season at the University of Tennessee. What do you think changed for you in that final year in college that was able to catapult you to the next level?
I think it was just going up there and realizing that it was my show. A lot of people come and watch you, and you're there to perform for them. So I think it was one of those things. But at the end of the day, you prepare during the week, and then on the weekends you go out there and you have fun. And I think whether it's success or failure, you learn. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's helped me so far in my career.
Tennessee is a great school. Obviously, it's known for its academics, but it's also known for its sports programs, football and basketball, of course, and baseball. And I want to ask you a little bit about your major, journalism and electronic media. Are you coming for our jobs, Trey? Is that what you're trying to do here?
No, but hey, I think it does help me a little bit during these interviews because I was on the other side and I know how some of the things happen and the questions to ask. So I'm always prepared in that aspect of it.
I love it. You should give some media training to teammates sometimes if they need it. Now, the men's basketball team reached the Elite Eight. How much were you paying attention to what the Vols were doing in the tournament?
Yeah, so I want to say that's Friday when I got to Cincinnati. I was able to watch them when they played. I think it was a trip to the Final Four. And I fell asleep at halftime, but I woke up and I saw that they won. And then on Sunday, they had an early game. We had an early game too, and they played Purdue. So I didn't really get to watch, but I saw that they lost. But that university is special, and it'll always be something special to me. And it's really cool to see all the athletic departments have success.
All right, Robert Griffin III. I know you have a special relationship with him. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did you guys connect?
Yeah, so my stepmom is Estonian, and RG3's wife is Estonian too. And my stepmom got me in a connection with RG3, and ever since then he's been a huge support to me. Whether it's on Twitter or helping me with things I need off the field, it's really someone nice to have in your circle.
Yeah, so you get texts to the effect of "job's not done, we still want more." How does that help you? How does that motivate you?
Yeah, I mean, because you see all the success that he had in his career, and I think that it shows you that nobody's too big for anything. And he really helped me out with that aspect of it. As going into my junior to senior year, I didn't really have anything look forward to. But he was like, hey, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna shine. You're a star. And I think that really helped me out a lot.
One of the things that you definitely shine at, Trey, is your defense. And I know that you were able to win that minor league Gold Glove award from Rawlings. And you say that, defense doesn't slump, right? That's one of the mantras that you take into the game. And what I love about that is it translated to the big league level when you were able to, record the final out on a play on that grounder from Tyler Stevenson. Tell me a bit more about how you mentally prepared defensively and why that's so important for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess coming into pro ball, one of the knocks was my defense. So as soon as I got drafted and I got down to West Palm Beach, Florida, I was like, hey, I want to get better at defense. And there was a lot of people down there that was willing to help me get better at defense. So every day, just go about that and get my work in, prepare the right way, and then, like I said earlier, go out on the field and just have fun with it, and then want the ball, because if you don't want the ball will find you.
That is definitely true. I hear a lot of guys say that once the game starts and you're in between the white lines, it's the same game that you've always played. But there's a reason that there's only 780 guys on an opening day roster to start a season. This game is not easy. In the small sample size, Trey, that you've had in the show so far, what has been the biggest adjustment that you have had to make quickly?
I guess I would say obviously preparing the same way, but also just getting out there and playing my game. I feel like in college you play 3-4 games a week, but in pro ball you're playing 6 games a week. So just preparing yourself, because sometimes you might see the same pitcher twice during a week, and just knowing what they're trying to go at you with, and then preparing from that.
All right, your first career home run, you hit it on Sunday. Take me through the feeling of rounding those bases.
Yeah, well, when I hit it, I thought I got it pretty good. We took BP in Cincinnati when I first got there, and the ball was flying. So I thought I got it pretty good, especially in that right center gap. And then I saw Benson going up to the wall about to catch it, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And then Paul, the first base coach, is like, hey, get on two. And as I'm running, he comes down with it. Sometimes you see the outfielders come down and oh, I don't have it, and they try to deke you. But then when I got to second base and I saw him with his glove out and I didn't see the ball, I was like, let's go. And then I'm rounding second base and third base, and it was just really cool that I was able to feel that moment.
Did you get the silent treatment in the dugout?
No, I didn't get the silent treatment. I got a lot of hugs. CJ was the first hug, and then I got down and Davey gave me a high five, and then when I got to the end, Garcia, he gave me a hug too. So it was pretty special. But yeah, I mean, I see it now, and everyone hitting their first home runs getting the silent treatment, which I've definitely had that to happen to me before, but it didn't happen this time.
All right, Trey Lipscomb, you are a big leaguer. Congratulations on getting the call up. A nice start to your season. We appreciate you taking the time.
I remember on Turn Back Times this year, we're going to give you a little sports, a little baseball. We're going to show you what happened on this date in history. That's Hank Aaron. That's number 714 against the Reds. That's opening day. Remember, he hit 715 on Monday night against Al Danning. He only played 2 of the 3 games that weekend. He was going to sit out the whole weekend. Bowie Q made him play. He hit the 1 home run. He did not hit the second one in Cincinnati. George Bell hit 3 on opening day in Kansas City. That night, by the way, Larry Brown won a title. Kansas beat Oklahoma in college basketball. Than Tuffy Rhodes in '94. That may have been against the Mets. He hit the 3 home runs at Wrigley Field. So, it was Doc Gooden. Okay, very good. Nice job by Chris. Meanwhile, our turn back time is going to be a little something different because on April 4th, 1969, CBS, in a move they regretted because, there was a lot of friction between the Smothers Brothers and the company, they severed their relationship with the Smothers Brothers and canceled that 3-year-old variety show that was a big hit for him in the late 60s. You got to keep an eye on TV in 67, 68, 69. There was a lot of bonanzas. It was a lot of Petticoat Junction, Hee-Haw, a lot of those kind of shows. Matter of fact, Bonanza was on NBC, was a huge hit. It owned Sunday nights from the late 50s onward. So CBS didn't have anything to show. They threw the Smothers Brothers on there in the late 60s. And it became a huge hit. Obviously, lots of musical acts. They both played musical instruments, and they both did all sorts of folk songs. They had a long career prior to the CBS variety show, which aired on the Sunday nights. And they had a lot of band. They had The Who. We're going to show you The Who here in a minute. Pete Seeger made an appearance. The Beatles gave them the Hey Jude song to play with their debut song, which they gave to one country to play. They gave the country America, of course, and they gave that song to the Smothers Brothers to play on their set. The Who, of course, came many a time. Keith Moon set his drums on fire. Major explosion. It damaged Pete Townshend's eardrum. There's a picture of that. That was on the Smothers Brothers. Pat Polson, fakely ran for president on the Smothers Brothers. They did a lot of anti-Vietnam War stuff. They were sort of, out there. They were an excellent show, a little ahead of its time. Before Laugh-In, which became a huge deal, too. And, listen, Tommy Smothers, who just passed away not too long ago in December at 85, 86 years of age, was annoyed about censorships and basically gave CBS a hard time. They said, the heck with it, and they got rid of him after 3 years. This is a reunion in the late 80s. You're right, that's Rob Reiner on the top left. He was a writer for the Smothers Brothers show. And you see Steve Martin, he, of course, was there, too. And he was a writer. That's Pat Polson sitting down. The Smothers Brothers, Tom was 2 years older. Their dad died in Japan, during World War II in a concentration camp. Matter of fact, I think he died in friendly fire. But he died in Japan during World War II. So the two of them were raised by their mother, and they had a sister, and they became huge stars. And that was a very influential show between 67 and 69. Again, Vietnam War, lots of great musical guests. They did a superb job. Everybody wanted to go on to it. Buffalo Springfield, you name it. They went on that show. So there you have it. And it was canceled in in April of 69. A mistake by CBS. The Smothers Brothers are difficult to deal with, but it's a mistake by CBS. And they made up and kissed and made up about 20 years later with that reunion thing. But you get the idea. As we do a little pop culture here, hopefully that Bob Costas approves that, because Bob's been texting me left and right, and rightfully so, as I screwed up something with Jack Parr. Bob made sure I knew about it, saying that Jack wasn't on Johnny Carson's level. I said he was, and I was wrong. And Bob made sure I knew. I think he'd be okay with the Smothers Brothers reenactment there. 67, 68, 69. That's where we are.
To turn up the heat, it looks like Aaron Judge is turning things up. And not only he, Christopher Russo, but Shohei Ohtani also hit his first home run of the 2024 season. So I ask you this. by the end of the year, who will have more long balls? Aaron Judge of the Yankees or Shohei Ohtani with the Dodgers?
That's a very good one. Judge hit 38 last year, and he missed 50-something games. Ohtani hit, what, in the mid-40s? Ohtani will probably, I'll say Judge. Close, that's a good question. I'll say Judge, a couple of more. And he's only got one. Soto's been the guy with the Yankees. He had a big double yesterday, too. Judge had a big game. I was amazed about the amount of Yankee fans in that ballpark. I mean, the place was all Yankee fans. I was amazed. But I would say Judge will have a few more than Ohtani at the end of the day.
Both guys have 4 RBI right now. So does Juan Soto, too, which is kind of funny. Now, Aaron Judge, of course, batting between Soto and Rizzo. Ohtani batting between Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. The top 3 in both of these lineups is pretty disgusting. All right, the Angels completed a sweep in Oakland while the Red Sox finished off a sweep in Miami on Wednesday. Who is more likely to contend, Chris, as far as an AL wild card is concerned, the Angels or the Red Sox?
I will say the Red Sox. That's another good question. I mean, the Angels, after a terrible start in Baltimore, won their last 4. I mean, the Red Sox start on the West Coast. They play against each other, by the way, this weekend in Anaheim. Red Sox have not gone home yet. The Angels will host them beginning tomorrow night. I would say the Red Sox. I think they got a little better starting pitching. I think there's a little bit more of a desperation angle to go out there and bring in some play. No, the Angels, too. With Trout, I understand that, but I would say Boston. It's probably a little. It's very interesting, but I would say the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox a little better opportunity because of their starting pitching, which has been very good the first time through their rotation. And they got a better bullpen. I would say Boston.
You said the Red Sox pitching has been very good. It's lights out. They have the best pitching in Major League Baseball right now in terms of ERA. I don't think either one of us would have thought of that coming into the season. Perhaps the Boston Red Sox are a little bit better than we gave them credit for. Tyler O'Neill is off to a really good start. I think Tanner Houck is off to a really good start. They're playing better, and Alex Cora said, hey, we're better than a lot of people are giving us credit for. So I'm with you. I think that the Boston Red Sox have a better chance of moving on as far as a wild card spot is concerned. All right, on Tuesday's High Heat, I don't know if you remember this, we talked about the Phillies' chances of hanging with the Braves at the top of the NL East. I do think that the Braves will win the NL East, but you had this to say about future Hall of Famer Bryce Harper.
Oh, boy. I'd be a little concerned about Harper. Speaking of the Phillies, he has not done anything, and he had a terrible spring training. A lot of people think he might have a bad back. I'd be a little worried about Harper here out of the gate.
I love this.
I thought
and then
that
on
might
Wednesday,
be buried.
this is what Harper
I thought that might be buried.
How about this? He has a 3 home run game, including, I think it was in the 7th inning when he hit a grand slam. So he had a home run in the first. I think he had a home run in the third, both off of Graham Ashcroft. And then he goes deep again in the 7th inning with the grand slam. So he had 6 RBI on Wednesday, not even 24 hours after you said you were worried about him. Are you still worried?
Yeah. You know what? I was well aware of it. Thank you, Alana, for bringing up not one of my better moments. I was well aware of it, and he made. He's not paying attention, but he hit the 3 home runs, so good for him. He looked good in doing so. I mean, he's a big game player. Horrendous weather too, cold, damp, and everything else, and he hit 3 bombs, 1 to the right, 2 to the left. Oh, did a great job. So no, I guess I'm not concerned after the bad spring and the 0-for-11 start with the Phils. I guess I'm not.
I think the first one was 420 feet to center field. Then the second one was like 376, a line drive to right, and then the grand slam. All right, the New York Mets and the Detroit Tigers, of course. We're going to get you to that game right after this. But they haven't played because the weather's terrible. And the Red Sox are so lucky that they're on the West Coast right now because I'm in Massachusetts and it's sleeting rain. It's horrible here. The New York Mets, Chris, do they figure this out? They haven't won a game.
Well, they're going to win probably a game today, but the Mets are going to have a bad year. I think the Mets, I don't like their starting pitching. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble. To me, they're trying to split the needle. They're trying to tell you that they were regrouping. We're going to build up our farm system, and oh, by the way, we're still going to go out there and be very competitive and hopefully make the playoffs as a wild card spot. And I understand Arizona last year won 84 and got in. So it's, with 6 teams, you don't need a ton of wins. But I still think you're asking for an awful lot. They have no pitching. They haven't hit a lot. They hit better. They haven't hit a lot. They're in a tough division. The National League with the 4 teams in the NL West, the Phillies in the NL East. Maybe they'd be a better team than we think in the NL Central. Cubs, Milwaukee, St. Louis did a little better on that road trip than maybe we thought. The Pirates are 5-1. So, the Reds are decent. I think the Mets are in for a long run. I really do. Plus, you got the Alonso thing. Who knows what's going to happen with him with his contract and his free agent year. I think the Mets are going to have a long season. Again, the one thing I would say about the Mets, everybody says, Steve Cohen this, Steve Cohen that. Mets have done nothing in the Steve Cohen era. They won a wild card and they got killed by the Padres. They really haven't done a lot. He spent a fortune. Not a lot of results so far at the Mets in New York.
Yeah.
There is a speed bump on the front. There is a speed bump on the front. front. There is a speed bump on the front.